This is from the Majjhima Nikaya, born from those who are dear. Because sometimes even some monastic, they being like have someone like cannot let go of the children. They come to monastery and then they become a nun, and then after a few years and then they disrobe and then they ordain again and still cannot let go of the family. Sometimes the attachment is so great, isn't it? Because of family, and then she tried very hard, but then uh, she have two daughters and one son, and then eventually she said, oh, and she told me that she discovered that initially she was in denial that she's still attached to her family, but she think that this is something good to do. I want to become a nun. This is something, but sometimes you're not ready. You're not ready. Sometimes I mean, in theory, we all understand, isn't it? Whether you can do it is another story, isn't it? In theory, everybody understand. Oh, let go, yes, I know I need to let go. But can you do it? Doing it is another thing, isn't it? Understand? Yeah. In theory, everybody understand. Yeah. And then she was thinking, this is something good to do. And then even monastic, they still cannot let go of the family. Like sometimes some of them disrobe because of they're still attached to the loved one, the family. And even sometimes people come to monastery or they come and stay, maybe first 2 days is okay, or they do retreat, and then they still carry the whole family with them, isn't it? Their loved one. And they still, some of them, even some monastic, they still very quite get easily affected by what happened at home, and that really bothered them. Very difficult to have a peace of mind. I remember there was when I was staying in Wapana many years ago, and then there was a layman who wanted to become a monk, and of course, because normally in a monastery we don't actually encourage if people have young children. And because sometimes they want the idea, I want to let go, that they want to let go, but actually deep down you can't really let go. And normally we don't. We always say, no, you finish, your responsibility. Your children grown up only, because we know even you come to monastic life, you're forcing yourself. Deep down, you still can't let go. And then the guy, and he told me the son, he's got a baby son. It's only a few weeks old. Then he wanted to ordain, but then that time Ajahn Dhamma was he was the abbot at Wapanaja, and then he said then actually he keep delaying him, like he got, first of all you become Anagarika first, then I asked, when is Anagarika? Oh, I don't know. Ajahn also said not yet. Actually, he tried to discourage her that actually you don't have peace of mind if you force yourself come to master. Deep down, isn't it? You a bit like running away from your responsibility. And then eventually, then yes, I managed Ajahn talk to him, that you still have young, Then he said it's okay. You still continue to practice, this is your love, look after your children. It's also a practice, you develop those qualities, You don't have to. Buddha never said that you have to become a monk or nun to practice. And then eventually he think about it. He said, okay, I think I better go back because the baby just born 3 weeks old and they want to become a monk. I mean, a lot of things ideally, isn't it? That people think that, sometimes people run away from things that, then they think that, if I become a monk or become a nun, sometimes people think they come to the monastery, they solve their problem. It's not going to solve your problem, Sometimes you're not ready. But we always give people a chance. Okay, sometimes when they say I want to ordain, I want to become, I said, "Is really you want to become a nun?" Yes. Is it really you want to become a nun? Sometimes I don't. I normally say, maybe you think about it. That's why we give people plenty of time. Okay, you come here 3 months observation as a lay person. You see whether you like it. Then okay, you apply to become Anagarikas. And sometimes even we have candidates we think that they're not suitable. Maybe some people they have some mental conditions that the the monastery unable to support because we also have a limitation. We can't support someone. We said we don't. It's not that we discriminate anyone. I mean, of course, it's about kindness and compassion. Also have to have wisdom, isn't it? We also have to know how much we can, we can offer, how much we can do, isn't it? And that's what the Buddha said. We also have to know our limitation, how much we can. We also have to recognize that. We can't offer the kind of support, then, we have to say, sorry, you're not a suitable candidate. There's sometimes like, how much attachment we towards our loved one. Sometimes we never know until when we have to leave the person or the person no longer here, then only we know how much attachment we have, isn't it? So that's why I find that this is quite appropriate because it's happened to all of us. So sometimes we have to leave a loved one or the loved one have to leave us, and this is something that we really have to, because the letting go will not happen overnight. That's why sometimes we develop our mind, we practice letting go, until the day that we have to face, the separation, from our loved one. And this is something that no one can avoid. No one, is unavoidable. We have to face that. And that's why it's good that sometimes we start to, train ourselves. Sometimes we don't attach to our loved one, doesn't mean that we don't love them. We still love them. Attachment is because the attachment is come from the sense of self, that we identify, this is me. Yeah, it belongs to me, I can't let it go. The attachment causes the suffering. So that's why this is the suttas, Piyajatikasutta. And I just read out, and then afterwards, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay? So this is, thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anagarika's park. Now on that occasion, a certain householder's dear and beloved only son had died. After his son's death, he has no more desires to work or eat. Because I had to lose a son and can't eat, and no desires to eat, no desires to work. He kept going to the charnel ground and crying, my only son, where are you? My only son, where are you? Then the householder went to the Blessed One, went to the Buddha, and paid homage to him, and sat down at one side. The Blessed One said to him, householder, your faculties are not those of one in control of his own mind, and your faculties are deranged. Then he said, how could my faculties not be deranged? Venerable Sir, my dear and beloved only son has died. Since he died, I have no more desires to work or to eat. I keep going to the charnel grounds and crying, my only son, where are you? My only son, where are you? And the Buddha said, so it is, householder, so it is. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Venerable Sir, who would ever think that sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear? Venerable Sir, happiness and joy are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Say, of course, you someone born, of course, when a baby born, everybody very happy, isn't it? So if they died, then we all grieve, isn't it? But sometimes we only look at that part, we celebrate, someone born, but no one can stay forever eventually. And then also, it's also not, sometimes people think that, when we talk about dying, we only think those have terminal illness die. Actually, each one of us here can die anytime, isn't it? You never know. It doesn't mean that the older one will die first, Sometimes if you have accident, you can die anytime. Even I have someone, I remember that this lady, the son only 11 years old. 11. And he was cycling to school, and then he just dropped dead. I think because of, it's like the aneurysm, like so young, 11 years old, have that illness. It's very certain. Like the parents not expect this going to happen, isn't it? So young, only 11. And then she seems like she's okay, but I think she's been suppressed her emotion. Like, have to, keep going. Then after everything settled, wow, she really, her grief come. Because sometimes at that time you hold on. So at the moment you let go, and she was really very emotional. And you see, it doesn't mean that, you someone, that's why when we said dying, actually, it's not only those old or sick dying. We all are dying. The moment we born, we all are dying, isn't it? We all have to face it. They have to come. The moment we born, anytime we die. So we all are dying, anytime. So that's why sometimes this is something that we really have to really think about it and reflect on that, and also prepare ourselves. If not, it's really a shock. I remember when I was young, this is how, only after my mother passed away, only I come to, into the Dhamma and really practice. And I remember when I was young, the moment I was thinking, oh, what is it going to happen if I die? And for me, it's so scared, so scary when I was young. Then I was thinking, oh, I don't think about it. I'm too young to think about that, I put it aside, I park it aside, I don't want to look at it, because this is how the fear of facing things that you don't want to face is really uncomfortable, and then we tend to run away. It's quite normal that we run away from things that we don't want to face, especially some things that are known is very fearful. And sometimes also you have the fear of fear, to have the feelings of fear and the kind of running away, because this is the easiest way, isn't it? To run away is the easiest way to do it. It's so easy to do. But even though we run away, we don't face it, doesn't mean that problem is not there. It's just like yesterday I mentioned that someone said, oh, how come I come to the monastery? It seems that my defilements grow. I have more defilements. I said, of course, you come to monastery, you have no distraction, and then you really have to face it. You have to really look at it, and then it's there, outside when you're so distracted, because you can't see it. Doesn't mean that it's not there, isn't it? It's there. It's all there all the time. But because sometimes our mind is not refined enough, we are unable to see some of our habitual patterns, some of our certain behavior that causes us suffering. We don't see that, because this is your mind have to be. You have to have the clarity. So your mind have to be calm enough, peaceful enough to see that. Because very easily, because outside lots of distraction. So when sometimes very easy, we just pick up the phone and call someone, And I know sometimes people use all sorts of way to run away from things, to run away, not to look at themselves, especially that some of the emotion or some of the things are unresolved emotions that is painful. Then some people, I know some people become like like to shop. Shopping. And then actually the shop it's not that they really want to buy anything. The shopping itself is only distract themselves so that they don't have to look at it. So doesn't mean that we don't look at it, it will go away. It won't go away. It will carry forward if you die, carry forward to your next life. And this life you brought forward to this life. Like doing accounts, you carry forward and you brought forward. Yeah, and that's why sometimes it's rather than, that's why I keep telling people, I say, it's rather than in this life you be able to see that, you have deal with it, then you have dealt with that. It's rather than you if you push it aside, you pretend that it's not there, it's not going to go away, and then you will carry forward to next life. No one can run away. It's still there. So that's why this is something that we really have to really reflect on that, That's why the Buddhists also encourage us to contemplate, that, we are subject to die, we're subject to old age, we're subject to sickness, we're subject to death. This is something that no one can avoid, That's something the Buddha said is good that the Buddha encouraged that we should reflect on this, contemplate on this, even every day to remind us. Because very easily when things go well, we think that, we don't, only when we suffer, only we will reflect, we look at this, Yeah, and then this is how the attachment, So, and even if we let go, doesn't mean that we don't attach, I remember when I first decided to become a nun, then sometimes I can see that the attachment towards my son is still there. Like, then I was thinking, maybe he still need me. That he already 18. So and then I realized actually it's not he attached to me. I attached to him, because sometimes we tend to give all sorts of excuse that like we are needed, But then I be able to see that I said, sooner or later you have to learn to let go. But I can see that, that's why, I can see the difference, like when my parents passed away, my brother passed away, and I can see that the attachment towards my parents, towards my brother, compared to attachment towards your children, actually attachment towards the children is greater than the attachment towards the parents. That you can see that, you can feel the difference. I remember you feel like, separated from your child. You feel like you're cutting part of your flesh from because we identify this is me, this is my children, that you feel like, because it's part of us, we identify this is part of us. So we want to, because this is, we own it and it's part of us. So when we separate from them, it's like cutting part of us, isn't it? Flesh, isn't it? That kind of feelings, But then, yeah, I'm not in denying. I recognize that and acknowledge that. I accept that. To accept the fact that, yeah, attachment is still there. Because sometimes we tend to, in deny. Deny that, oh yeah, I no more attached. It's okay. Like the Buddha said, we acknowledge that. Okay, it's still there. But then we be able to see that the attachment is there. We acknowledge that, we accept that, and we forgive, and we let it be. And then this is how you have to keep working. And then, so that's why sometimes like it's good that we recognize that. And of course, after that, I've been, not living many years, over 20 over years, we've not been living together. Like sometimes we hardly talk. I hardly he has his own life. I have my own life here. And then we know that we exist. But, we know that, he also hardly contact me, hardly. So I can count throughout whole year how many times we call each other. But it's for us like, no news means good news. So I see them once a year, That's like, I don't like always, I don't like nowadays, I don't worry about what because I said his life, he's going to live his life. I'm not, it's not that I don't really concern or don't, to me, I can see the difference, like, even, doesn't mean that you don't love that person. Of course, whenever he need help, and if he's contact me, I always there for him. But then I don't worry about him so much. Then I can see that I think not being lived together for many years, slowly you get used to it, not having the other person. Actually, the detachment, happen little by little, because over 20 over years, not living together. And then, yeah, that I can see that attachment towards him is really not great, I don't feel much, I miss him. I don't miss him. Like he also doesn't miss me. We don't miss each other. We hardly call. But doesn't mean that we don't care. I mean, I still care for him. But if he need me, I'm still there for him. There's just sometimes people think that, oh, you let go, that means you don't love that person. No, I still love. I still happy to see him. I still love him as usual. But only thing that the attachment is already not there, I don't feel the attachment. I don't feel like I miss someone. So I don't miss him anymore. So that's why sometimes don't be afraid that to detach your children, Doesn't mean that a lot of people think that if I don't attach, that means I don't love that person. No, no, no. Actually, even though you detach, you still love that person. If the person, if they need you, you still will do whatever, If he need me, I still I'm always there for him. But doesn't mean that you don't attach to him, doesn't mean that you don't love him. So that's why then he said, oh, Venerable Sir, that's why he was not happy, then displeased. They said, how come, your pain, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Remember, sir, happiness and joy born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. So he disagreed with what the Buddha said, because he said, it should be, your loved one should bring you joy and happiness. How come that give you suffering? But then, having it, you happy, but you cannot lose, isn't it? Isn't it like the Buddha said, associate those that we don't like, we suffer. Isn't it? Have to separate those that we love, we also suffer. So sometimes we have we both also suffering, having it also suffering, not having it also suffering. I remember there was a lady, she came. And then she said, oh, now I'm single, I have no boyfriend. And then she said, oh, I feel lonely, looking for a boyfriend. Okay. Then after a while, she came to me, oh, now I have boyfriend. So before that, no boyfriend suffering, then told me that, oh, now I have boyfriend. Then after a while, she come to me again. Oh, now I was so much argument with my boyfriend, So then, she from no boyfriend suffering to having boyfriend suffering. So isn't it sometimes you when you have it, you have the having it suffering, isn't it? When you don't have it, you have the not having it suffering. So this is like the Buddha said, this is part of life. You have it or you don't have it, so you suffer basically. Because then I said, never mind. I said, so if this is how next time you just think of that now you can see having it is also suffering. So don't have it also suffering. Basically, either way also you suffer. So why you want to have someone to give you more suffering, isn't it? There's sometimes life is like that, and then sometimes we think that, oh, I don't have it, I want to have it. But then when you have it also, having the things that you want to have it also is a suffering, So now he's also not happy with, but he disapproving of them, and the householder rose from his seat and left. He disagreed with the Buddha. And then now on that occasion, some gamblers who were playing with dice not far from the black servant, the gambler, train dice. And then the householder went to those gamblers and said, just now, sir, went to the recluse Gautama, and after paying homage to him, I sat down at one side. When I have done so, the recluse or Gautama said to the householder, your faculties are not those of one in control of his own mind. It repeat the whole conversation, Then he tell the gamblers that what the Buddha said. He repeat the whole conversation. So then he said, when happiness and joy are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear, then displeased with the recluse Gautama's words, disapproving of them, I rose from my seat and left. So he just said that, he repeat the conversation. He said, I disagree with what the Buddha said, because that's why I left, because I don't agree with what the Buddha said, that your loved one will bring you suffering. So it is, householder, so it is, happiness and joy are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Then the householder left thinking, I agree with the gamblers. You see, sometimes we always someone agree with us. It's also sometimes also how we attach to our views, isn't it? We attach when we have the same views. It's like, you see, that's why sometimes I tell people you have to be careful if you associate with someone have the same defilements. So you confirm each other. So definitely you are right, And actually we are feeding we are feeding ourselves, isn't it? Each other defilements. Yeah, right. Sometimes we not happy that if people disagree with us, because come from our sense of self, come from the sense of self, come from how we identify, like this is my views. Sometimes we attach to our views. I remember many years ago, that time I was still Anagarika, and then one day, sometimes I normally, once every few months, I call my family. Then I talk to my family, and then after talking to my family, and then that night I'm a bit upset, that with one of my siblings, I was upset with her. I don't think. I was thinking, oh, she's not doing the right things. It shouldn't be like this, and go on and on and on. And then suddenly I just stopped, and I just see myself doing that. I realized it. I was thinking, and then I started to ask myself, actually, you don't love her. Because I realized that actually, because we're thinking that, oh, because I care for you, I'm upset because I think that you're doing the wrong thing, then I upset. So we tend to justify. But actually, it's come from our self-righteousness. What is right, what is wrong. Then suddenly I realized that, then I ask myself, if I love the person, I love the person as the person is, isn't it? And then I realized that I attach to my own views and opinions much more than I love that person. But sometimes we have to be honest about that. But sometimes we tend to live in denial. We deny that. But actually, that is true. I can see that, Then the moment I see that, actually I stop. No more complaining, because I see the complaining come from my attachment towards my views, my ideas. That's why we tend to impose our ideas, even onto our loved one, like the parents impose the ideas onto the children. Actually, our children, they are the individual beings. So they said life. I remember some months last year, I think someone said to me that, oh, I can't really decide because I really, don't want my pet I don't want my parents to feel disappointed, and then. Then I said to this person, I said, this is your life, you live your own life, so you have to, you make decision not based on whether you're going to disappoint your parents or not, but this is your life. You live your own life. You're not living for your parents. I said that's why you have to make you have to. You're old enough. You decision. You decide what is really best for you. Sometimes when we impose our ideas on others, sometimes what we think that is best for others is only your idea. Doesn't mean that it's good for that person, isn't it? Like for me, like my relatives know that I become a nun. Some of them say, why she do that? Why she did that? And then some even feel sorry that I become a nun. But then I'm happy. But because they are not me, isn't it? That's why sometimes this is how we think, we impose our ideas on others. We think that the person's up, but actually the person not so happy with, I'm just happy with this lifestyle. The fact that I become a nun is not because I want to become a nun. It's just because that I just enjoy the lifestyle. I just happy with the lifestyle, and I have a lot of passion in living this life. So I'm not come from the place that, oh, I become a nun, ideas of being nuns, I don't have that. I don't have any want to become a nun. I live this life is just because I like the lifestyle. I'm just happy with the lifestyle. It's not because I want to be a nun. And that's why there is a difference. That's why I said I choose to live this life, because before I decide to the ordain, I ask myself what kind of lifestyle I want to live for the rest of my life, because I still have to live until I die, isn't it? So then I was thinking, okay, since I have to live until I die, so what kind of lifestyle I'm going to live? I choose to live this lifestyle. It's not because of, my son told me, when, some people might think that, oh, what happened? Why your mom become a nun? Oh, maybe because experience, maybe, any failure. Most people think that, when we become a monks or nuns, especially people towards nuns, must be, old, sick, failure, no one wants, and they become a nun. I don't understand why people have this kind of perception, But actually, nowadays, most of the nuns, like many of our nuns, they're all highly educated. Even before they're ordained, they all have good job. It's not that they are someone, they are not failure. They have good job. They're well educated, highly educated, but they choose to live this life. It's not because of their failure, because of the old, they're sick, they become a nun, And they said this is how they said this is something that we have to really face it and talk about it. I know especially for Chinese, you cannot talk about death, When you talk about death, Chinese are cha 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 cha. Oh, don't say it, You think you're not going to talk about it? Don't say it. You're not going to die. You still die, isn't it? Doesn't mean that, you don't talk about it, you just, try not to mention the words, death, then you're not going to die. You still die, But that actually is good that when we talk about it, then we are open up to that. And we learn to face it. So we train ourselves, it's good that we start to train ourselves now, because all of us here, each one of us here, have to face that one day. No one can run away. So it's good that you train yourself now, to face that when the day to come. That at least you're more prepared, isn't it? So because we know that we cannot run away, that is more, that we have to face that. So, and then this is continue, even the gamblers also agree with this person that, how come loved one will bring you suffering, bring you happiness? And then he went on, and then of course he's very happy because someone agreed with him, against confirm his views, and reaffirm his view. You are right, Isn't it? We all have the same thing, isn't it? When someone agree with us, we are very happy, isn't it? And I know I see someone, like sometimes they ask questions, I see some people, each one come, visiting monks come, they ask the same questions, and then, because sometimes the questions, the answer they give may not be the answer they want. Isn't it? Then you will ask another monks, another nuns, I see. Then until one day the person give you the answer that what you want, the answer that you want. Actually, rather than sometimes we really be honest and open to look at things, rather than being, it's just like living in denial, It's just deceiving ourselves. They say sometimes the Buddha talks about one of the spiritual faculties that is that truthfulness. Truthfulness is not about not lying to others. Of course, lying to others is not truthful. But then, most importantly, not lying to ourselves. But we tend to lie to ourselves, isn't it? We lie to ourselves, we deceive ourselves. We, sometimes can be very deceiving. So that's why that is really the honesty, not even lying to ourselves. So then he go on. So it is householder. So it is happiness and joy are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Then the householder left thinking, I agree with the gamblers. So he agreed with that. Eventually, this story reached the king's palace. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala told Queen Malika, this is what has been said by the recluse Gautama Malika. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. If that has been said by the Blessed One, sir, then it is. So Queen Malika said, oh, this is what the Blessed One said. It must be true, Then the King Pasenadi said, no matter what the recluse Gautama said, Malika applauds its thus. If that has been said by the Blessed One, sir, then it is so. Just as a pupil applauds whatever his teacher said to him, saying that, oh, so it is, teacher, so it is. So too, Malika, no matter what the recluse said, you always applaud this thus, if that has been said by the Blessed One. And so that it is so, be off, Malika, anywhere with you. He said, you always, whatever the Buddha said, you also always say it's true. You always agree with whatever, Buddha said, that's whatever Buddha said also you always agree, and also sometimes also like for example, some people have the perception that thinking, oh, the nuns always, whatever Ajahn Brahm said, we always follow, we always agree. But you don't know, we do challenge Ajahn Brahm. We don't always, because actually he's happy, he rather for us like to challenge him. Then we are not like just blindly, believe, agree with what he said. At least we are more independent, not just blindly. I remember when we built our building project. So he looks at our plan. Then, so our building project, we have a library. So then he put across there, useless building. Then we don't care. We still build. Because we said, we are the one who live there, not you. You think that is useless, we don't think that is useless, because he said that, if a library there, because people would tend to hang out, hang out there, but nuns don't hang out there. If it's some of you living in a monastery, people, you see everybody go back, isn't it? They don't hang out in a coffee club, because because there's Bodhinyana, the monks like to hang out in the office. They have the coffee club. 2 o'clock also not going back, to the kuti. But I said, oh, nuns is very good that they don't do that. So we don't care. And then he also liked something like the hall. He liked to like the cave like that, no windows and things like that. But for us, we want to have windows because of we be able to air. And then also the way we face the windows facing north, so that we have in winter we have sunlight come in, so it help to heat up the hall. So we do not need so much heating. So that is also for part of. And also it's good that to have some sunlight in, because when you have sunlight, and you have the 𝐏𝐞𝐢𝐴, all the germs and things like that, sometimes you need to air the hall. So that's why he disagree with all the sliding door. But then we also just ignore him, Because for us it's like, we respect him, sometimes we show him, but we may not really take what he said. He will not fall. Because for us is that we are the one who living there. And also it's basically, physically, male and female, we are actually basically physically we are different, isn't it? We are different. So sometimes what suits the monk doesn't mean that it suits us. Isn't it? So that's why I remember once Ajahn Brahm come to see the community, and he's talking about, I've been a monk for so many years, then like I have more experience about monastic life and and then I like he know best, he know better than us about monastic life. Then one lunch challenged him, Ajahn Brahm, because you are never live with us in the community, you don't know us. Isn't it? You have ever in your life live with a bunch of women? You never. It's different, He never, Ajahn Brahm never in his whole life living, in a community with a bunch of women, never, And that's why it's different. That's why sometimes that we don't blindly, we respect him, but things about, like meditation, whatever, we listen, but then because this is our life, because we are not living for Ajahn Brahm. We living for ourselves. This is our space. This is where we live. So whatever, we decide is according to our own needs. what we need, what the community needs, It's not based on what Ajahn Brahm needs because he doesn't live with us, And that's just that this nun, we said, when she challenged Ajahn Brahm, we said, yes. Ajahn Brahm, yes, Yes, because sometimes we doesn't like in the Kalama Sutta doesn't mean that as a teacher we have to always agree blindly. We also have to think for ourselves, isn't it? We also have to live for ourselves. It's not, but doesn't mean that we don't follow that. We disagree. Doesn't mean that we don't respect the person. We still respect him as a teacher. It doesn't mean that we don't respect him. But because the monastery, how the system, how we live, actually we are the one who living there. So that's why we also have to, we also have to meet our needs, because physically and mentally, female and male, we have a slightly a little bit different, Sometimes things that is important for female is not important for male, isn't it? For men. And then some is important for men is not important for women, So we just different. It's not good or bad. It's just different. So then we have to go according to what we need, That's why when this nun challenged Ajahn Brahm, we laugh. We said, good on her. I said, good on her that she. And then because he said that you just agree with Ajahn Brahm, whatever, not Ajahn Brahm, a Buddha, this is here, whatever the Buddha said, Then Queen Malika addressed the Brahmin, Nili Jaha, that come, Brahmin, go to the Blessed One and pay homage in my name with your head at his feet and ask whether he is free from illness and affliction and is healthy, strong, and abiding in comfort, saying, Venerable Sir, Queen Malika pay homage with her head at the Blessed One's feet and asked whether the Blessed One is free from illness and abiding in comfort. Then said this, Venerable Sir, have these words been uttered? And then you check with the Buddha whether this is what the Buddha said, Venerable Sir, have these words been uttered by the Blessed One? Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Learn well what the Blessed One replies and report it to me, for Tathagatas to not speak untrue. So they said the Buddha will not speak something that is untrue. So you better confirm and check whether this is what the Buddha said. Because sometimes people spreading, sometimes might be misrepresent what the Buddha said. So yes, madam. Then he replied. Then he went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talks was finished, he sat down one side and said, Master Gautama, Queen Malika's pay homage with his head at Master Gautama's feet and asked whether he is free from illness, abiding in comfort. And then he said this, Venerable Sir, have these words have been spoken by the Blessed One. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. So the Buddha's answer, so it is Brahmin. Sorrow, lamentation, grief, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. So the Buddha said a bit, again, like, confirm that, this is what I said, It can be understood from this, Brahmin. So he give all the example. So Brahmin, how sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Once in the same, and then he give the example, one in the same Savatthi, there was a certain woman, mother died. Owing to her mother's death, she's went mad, lost her mind, wandered from street to street and from crossroad to crossroad, saying, have you seen my mother? Have you seen my mother? And then he continued to say, and it also can also be understood from how sorrow, lamentation, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Once the same Savatthi, he give all the example. Savatthi, there was a certain woman whose father died whose brother died, whose sister died, whose son died, whose daughter died, whose husband died. Owing to her husband's death, she went mad and lost her mind and wandered from street to street and from crossroad to crossroad, saying, "Have you seen my husband? Have you seen my husband?" And it can also be understood from this how sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Once in this same Savatthi, there was a certain man whose mother died, whose father died, whose brother died. It's very long-winded, isn't it? Whose sister died, whose son died, whose daughter died, whose wife died. Owing to his wife's death, he went mad, lost his mind, and wandered from street to street and from crossroad to crossroad, saying, "Have you seen my wife? Have you seen my wife?" And it also can be understood from this how sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Once in this same Savatthi, there was a certain woman who went to live with his relatives' family. Her relatives wanted to divorce her from her husband and give her another whom she did not want. Then the woman said to her husband, "Lord, this relative of mine want to divorce me from you and give me another whom I do not want." Then the man cut the woman in two, and this disemboweled him himself and thinking that we shall be together. Okay, now your relative not allowed two of us together. Okay, we died. So he cut his stomach and thinking that we shall be together in afterlife. So we, like how people commit suicide, they kill themselves. Oh, okay. Since two of us cannot be together, so we die together. So next life we born together. You think so? You can really, you think that you can really bond together. It may not be able to bond together. It can be understood. This is how, like, separate for the one that we love, isn't it? That is also suffering. That's why it said. It can be understood from this how sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. Then delighting in rejoicing in the Blessed One was the Brahmin Jaha, rose from his seat, went to Queen Malika and reported to her his entire conversation with the Blessed One. Then Queen Malika went to King Pasenadi of Kosala and asked him, "So what do you think, sir? Is Princess Vajiri dear to you?" Then the king said, "Yes, Malika, Princess Vajiri is dear to me. So what do you think, sir? If alteration took place in Princess Vajiri, would sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair arise in you? Change and alteration in Princess Vajiri would mean an alteration in my life. How could sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair not arise in me? Because sometimes it's very easy. Some other people die because we don't have that attachment. We don't feel that, isn't it? I remember when I was a layperson many years ago, when I was still a layperson. So we used to have I was also part of the member of that Buddhist society. So sometimes we have this we chanting for people dying or people pass away. We a group, we go there to chant. And sometimes because we are not related, so that's why sometimes and you ask someone, how old is your parents, how old is your father or your mother? They say, in the 80s or whatever. Then we say, maybe we think that, it's like as if that is old enough to die, But then if your own parents, my goodness, live up to 100 or so, you do think that they're old enough to die. It's different, isn't it? I remember someone said to me, this person, she's going to ordain, and then her grandmother, of course she also allowed her to ordain, but he's not really happy, not really completely agree with that, but this is what her granddaughter want to do. She also, okay, this is what you do. Then she said, because then this nun said to me, and I asked my grandma, I remember last time someone son ordained, someone daughter ordained. You say sadhu, wow, much married to you. But then why why you come to me is no good, Then the grandmother said, it's different. There's other people. Isn't it? You come to me, cannot, you cannot ordain, the attachment, They said, he said, oh, I remember, she said to me, he told the grandmother, I remember you said very good, very good. Someone else daughter or granddaughter or grandson or their son ordained, you said very, very good, how much merit, But then come to me. And then the mother said, oh, that is different. That one because not related, This is how, isn't it? It's related to you. It's really hit you, isn't it? Like I think one of the Chinese said, it's only when the needles poke on you, only you know the pain. If on other, you don't feel the pain. Only poke on yourself, and then you feel the pain. So then he said, of course, it's my effect. Of course, I'll be sad, Then, and it was with reference to this, that the Blessed One who knows and see accomplished and fully enlightened said, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. So what do you think, sir? Then it continued, Queen Malika asked, is the noble or her concubine, the queen was Wasapa, dear to you, is a general. 𝐵𝑢𝑑𝑑𝐻𝑖𝑠𝑡 dear to you, and am I dear to you? 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎 dear to you? Yes, Malika, 𝐾𝐻𝐼, 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎, and are dear to me. We owe it to 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎 that we use 𝐾𝐻𝐼 sandalwood and wear garlands and scent and from, we wear all these garlands and scents, all this from 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and what's the other name? That one, 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎. So what do you think if change and alteration take place in 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎? Would sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair arise in you? Change and alteration in 𝐾𝐻𝐼 and 𝐶𝑜𝑠𝑎 would mean an alteration in my life. How would sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair not arise in me? It was with reference to this, that the Blessed One who knows and see, accomplished and fully enlightened said, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are born from those who are dear, arise from those who are dear. It is wonderful, Malika. It's marvelous how far the Blessed One penetrates with wisdom and see with wisdom. Come, Malika, give me the ablution water. Then the king Pasanati of Kosala rose from his seat and arranging his upper robes with one shoulder, he extended his hand with reverential salutations towards the Blessed One and uttered this exclamation 3 times: honor to the Blessed One, accomplished and fully enlightened. Honor to the Blessed One, accomplished and fully enlightened. Honor to the Blessed One, and accomplished and fully enlightened. So eventually he was being convinced that, oh yes, this is because this is sometimes we don't see that, isn't it? There's sometimes only things happen to us, that only you can feel it. There's sometimes it's very easy for us to judge others, you shouldn't do this, because we are unable to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Sometimes we ask ourselves, if I were the person undergoing experience what the other person experienced, we might do the same thing because we are not them, There's sometimes this is come from the attachment, because if someone related to me is different, not related to us, there's nothing to do with us, isn't it? There's sometimes this is how. Actually, it's good that, to sometimes to read this kind of suttas also always remind us to always reflect and contemplate that, this is something that we have to face one day. And this is how, because the letting go will not happen overnight. It takes time to let go little by little. If it's so easy to let go, all of us just get enlightened so easily, isn't it? It can't. It takes time. There's sometimes because whether we like it or not, when the time comes, whether you're ready or not ready to let go, also you have to let go, isn't it? You cannot say every minute, I'm not ready yet, you cannot hold on, isn't it? Times come, when you face it. That's why it's good that we prepare our mind to really contemplate, reflect on that, Sometimes I find that mindfulness on death actually is very helpful. I find that actually you become more appreciative. And I remember after my mother passed away a few years, and then my father passed away. And then father passed away, I think 3 months, my brother passed away. Then after that, I remember when I was in Thailand, I do a lot of mindfulness on death, I find it's very useful. I become like so appreciative. So every morning when I wake up, I feel that I'm so blessed. Oh, another day, I still alive. So each day I count my blessing that each day. Then I have full of energy, a lot of energy, and becomes really appreciative. Sometimes people think that when people listen, some people when they listen to the Buddhist teaching, it's very depressing. The Buddha talk about suffering, Actually, the Buddha talks of suffering doesn't mean that you have to suffer. I mean, you understand suffering, That is how the Buddha's not only teach the Four Noble Truths to understand suffering. The Buddha's also teach to know the cause of suffering. And there also the way out of suffering, and the way also the ceasing of the suffering. It's not that there is no way out. So that's why sometimes that's why it's good that when we reflect that actually it's not being negative. Some people think that Buddhism is talk about suffering, talk about that, and then is very negative, Actually, it's not negative. You become more positive. You become more appreciative. Sometimes we tend to take it for granted, isn't it? We take it for granted because our loved one is always there. So we think that forever they are there. One day they'll be gone. That's why sometimes you become more appreciative. That's why I always tell people. So if you have anything want to tell your loved one, please tell them how much you love them. Because you might not be able to tell them one day, I should have told them. Because you feel good. I remember I feel so good. I be able, because I grown up in a family, like we were not very close to my father, But doesn't mean that I don't respect my father. Doesn't mean that, because it's just the way we've been brought up. We're not very close, But of course, my father, I remember when he was dying, and I went back to see him. And I told him, and I feel really good after I said that, I never so close to my father, we are not the kind of, we don't come from a family, we are not the huggy type, So I just sit beside him. I said to him, I said that, I'm really very blessed to have you as my father. You've been a very good man. You've been a good husband, a good father, and you've been, I'm so blessed to have you in my life. I told him that, And actually, the first time I see my father was in tears. And then I feel good, that I be able to tell him that, And then this is the first time. Then I use a tissue paper to wipe his face. We never so close. This is the first time. Also the last time. Because after that he passed away. And I was with him when he passed away. Then I feel good afterwards that I be able to express myself. Sometimes we don't express ourselves. We keep inside. Sometimes it's good to express, to let the other person know how much you care, how much you love. Sometimes you never know. We very easily we take it for granted. Especially we hurt our loved one much more. Because they are the one always forgiving, isn't it? Whatever we do, whatever said, they always, our loved one, because they love us, whatever we do, they always forgive. And then we take it for granted, But they say sometimes we not to take it for granted. Anything, we don't know. Each time we see each other, it might be the last time we see each other. That's like this teaching actually is to remind us the sense of urgency. And then you become more appreciative, become more, actually it's to become more positive, appreciative, that you always very value, appreciate the times you have. You don't take, because very easily we take it for granted. There's just sometimes, we reflect, contemplate on that. Actually is very helpful. I find it very helpful. I find that I have more energy, more energetic, and I feel that I become more appreciative. and always very grateful, because we always, sometimes our mind always wonder of the future, always look at the things that yet, the things that we don't have, but we tend to neglect to really appreciate the things that we already have, but we tend to take it for granted. That's why sometimes when you reflect on, mindfulness on death, reflect and contemplate on death, actually I find this very useful. You become more positive. You become more appreciative. Actually, you feel more lively, because for you, like, this is another day that I'm alive, You feel really, I don't, you be able to live your life fully. And then you're more energetic. So this is the one of the reasons why I choose these suttas. Is also, this is something that we all have to face, whether you like it or not. Whether you're ready to let go or not ready to let go, that's not up to you. Not up to you. That's why it's good that we prepare our mind, be open to it. So then, we just talk about it, talk about that, it's fine, It's not, I know sometimes Chinese tend to be very superstitious, cannot, like Chinese New Year, you have to speak all good things, you don't say bad things, everything, I remember, first day you cannot sweep the floor because all the good luck you swept away, You cannot wash your hair, then all the good luck gone, And then you cannot wear black, you have to wear red. Red, that means it's good, That's why when I was a teenager, when I was young, I'm quite naughty, Then I do it on purpose, and the first day Chinese New Year, I wear all black. Because I challenged my mother, because my mother said, I said, why can't we wash our hair? She said, no good. I said, why no good? But she cannot explain, because it's come like the Kalama Sutta. It's come from the tradition, come from the your great grandfather passed to our grandfather, and then pass to us, isn't it? We just follow the tradition. So she cannot explain. Then I said, why cannot wear other color? Why have to wear red? Then it's because it's a good luck. You wear. Then I said, I don't believe this. So then I wear black, I wash my hair, then I say, you see, nothing happened to me. So sometimes I just challenge her, but that's actually my mother very kind. He didn't scold me. He just, but I don't think that is bad. Sometimes it's good that we not just blindly, The same thing. You also you don't blindly listen to what I said. If you listen to the talks, If you find that this is useful and this is helpful, you take it back. If you think that all this rubbish, you throw into the bin. So so each one of you, you be able to think for yourself. And you live for yourself. You're not living for others. This is your life. And what is suit you? Yeah, what you have to go according to what's your needs. What is beneficial to you. It's all for your own well-being. So thank you for listening. Any questions or comments? Okay. Can you give that mic?
Thank you. Like what you say, Chinese family are very superstitious. So many a time I want to start a conversation with my mom, but I stop because she will say, "Why you curse me? Is it?"
Yeah.
So I was wondering any other suggestion.
Okay. That's why sometimes it's also come back to right speech. Sometimes right speech, for example, if I know someone that for example, someone is very defensive, you try to point out the mistake, but the person very defensive, then I can see that no way I can pass a message. So then, like the Buddha said, you always right speech, you have to consider the 5 conditions. Even though it is true, but then you have to be right time, right place. It is true. And also have to be beneficial. because I know that it's not beneficial, or sometimes that the person is not happy. So when you bring this up, so then it's not the right time, right place. It's also not beneficial. So it doesn't fulfill the condition. Then also have to be not come from big ego, come from, I try to point out your mistake, I know better, come from kindness and compassion. And also, like the Buddha said, the words that we choose have to be really pleasing to the ears. Sometimes, like my mother used to say, it's not what you said is really matter, how you said it. Sometimes maybe the way you said it, sometimes can be quite hurting someone's feelings, even though you didn't mean it, but maybe your tone or the way. I remember someone said to me that certain people, I was in Jhana Grove, and this lady, lay woman, she said to me like, one monastic, and like order her to move the chair. Then she a bit not quite happy because of, I think maybe the way like you come with the kind of authority, like, then she said, hey, I don't owe you anything, But then if you say, oh, excuse me, it would be good that if you can help, please help me to carry the chair. Oh, thank you so much. People are very happy to help you, isn't it? But if you come with, with authority, people, hey, I'm not obliged, I have no obligation, I don't owe you anything, That's why sometimes it's also, like the Buddha said, you have to be pleasing to the ears, isn't it? And gentle and nice speech, choose with love and care. That's why it's also important. It's not what we said really matter. How we said it is important, And that's why sometimes if you don't, then sometimes you just have to accept that they don't like to hear, you just can't say it. That's why sometimes we also just respect her, accept the way she is, Like we have someone like the father, like she was crying and said, "Oh, my father, come to see me. This girl, this in her 20s, this girl." She said, "Oh, and she was crying." Then I said, "What happened?" She said, "Oh, because nowadays my father." Into this Christianity, went to the church, and then I think he been converted to a Christian. So I said, what's the problem? I said, if this make him happy, you respect him. You love him as he is, It's not that you have to be you are not the Buddhist, I don't love you, you have to be the Buddhist. I said, it's okay. You let him be, you respect him, Sometimes also we sometimes think that we know that we cannot change, so we just have to learn to accept that. So respect the way, she doesn't like to talk about that. Sometimes if she don't feel good, then we cannot force someone to accept the ideas, So is that answer your questions? Or make sense to you? Okay. Any questions or comments? More? No more questions or comments? Oh, there's one question. Okay. I thought no business.
Ayya, in Buddhism we always like the Buddha always advises us to sit solitude. How do one balance up solitude and social interactions?
Okay. That's why it's important that it's a balance. Even as a monastic, we have to have the balance, because sometimes you're too much in solitude. Sometimes then you always, because things, go your way, and you think that your practice is so good. I remember when I was in Thailand, and then one of my job, that in the morning I used to clean the Sima hall. And then very happy, very peaceful. I stay there very happy, very peaceful. Then one of my job, because we have to get up 3 o'clock, half past 2, because it's start to practice at 3 o'clock. Then 3 o'clock I sit until 5:45. Then 5:45 I'll go to the Sima hall to clean the Sima hall. And then normally we have one meal. So we have 8:30 is the meal time. So around cleaning the Sima hall is about an hour. I do the cleaning. Then I will go to the kitchen to help. the kitchen. Then we have a meal at 8:30. So very peaceful, very happy. Then I was thinking, I was thinking that I'm so peaceful, I'm so happy. Then you think that you have no anger, isn't it? Then until one morning, this one lady, I think from Europe, this lady, she wearing her shoes after I mopped the floor. She walked into the cinema hall with all the shoes print. I almost want to strangle her. Then I realized that, I'm not beyond yet. Sometimes when everything, you think that you're so peaceful, then until sometimes it's good that when sometimes you always by yourself, unless you're fully enlightened, or at least your first stage, you have some enlightenment, or first stage or second stage enlightenment, or third stage of fully enlightened. If not, and sometimes it's good to have the balance, you have some, because sometimes if too much socializing, you don't have time and space for yourself to look at yourself, because very easily we got distracted. That's why there's always a balance, In monastic life also, we do have time to have interaction. We live in a community, but also we have time to go back to a kuti, to stay in solitude and have time to really look at ourselves. Because we need, that's why, not only for monastic, even each one of you, it's always good to have some time and space for yourself, because this is how you have time and space for yourself to really look at yourself, to face yourself. Because very easily we tend to run away, distracted, by things outside, and this is how this is as a way to, as an escape route, not to look at ourselves. So that's why it's important to have the solitude. So when you be by yourself, like by us, because that that's why people think that being a nun or monks, because they're lazy, they don't want to work, But for us, actually the inner work is harder than hard, because to facing yourself, to look at yourself is a very difficult thing. So you go back, whether you like it or not, you have to face it, you have to look at it, whether you like it or not. But to me, I'm quite okay, because I have my own ways to look at myself. Okay. Sometimes when I go back, whatever comes up in my mind, because in the monastery you have no entertainment. For me, whatever come up in my mind, like the TV channel, So I had some fun. I just laugh at myself. Okay, stupid, stupid ideas, stupid thoughts come out. Just to me, it's like I entertain myself with that. So that is also a way not to take it personally, because we tend to take things personally, and then we identify that as ourselves. Then we judge ourselves, and then beating ourselves up that we are no good. We judge ourselves, I shouldn't feel this, I shouldn't think of this, we're bad, and things like that. This is how we judge ourselves. And then rather than, okay, this is, if we have no defilements, we're not here. Already, you will not be reborn, will not be here. So just be, that's why it's again the spiritual, one of the spiritual one of the spiritual qualities, that is being truthful, being honest about how we feel and where we at. And it's fine, I'm not there yet, it's okay, That's why sometimes, because if you always constantly be, going out, socializing, you have no chance to look at yourself. But you have to have the chance to look at yourself. But then sometimes, some people that attach to, sometimes people also as a way to escape, like they don't want to associate with people, and then but you can tell if the person always, like to be solitude, like completely have a lot of anger towards others, that means also is a way to running away from things, to be in solitude, But if your mind is really balanced, or you're even-minded, actually you're not so easily triggered. But you can tell if someone, they want to meditate, they want to live in seclusion and solitude, and then when they come out, they have lots of anger, that means they're not heading the right way. Because you have to, it's always a balance, because like like I mentioned before that, because you by yourself, no one press a button, of course you're very happy. And then someone come along, press a button, then yeah. So is that answer your questions? It makes sense to you? Okay. Yes. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn. You mentioned to let go of attachment. How do you do that? Do you have some ideas?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sometimes, like the Buddha said, like this letting go, because the Buddha said there's 3 levels of restrain yourself to letting go. Like, that sometimes we restrain ourselves, like the restraint by body, restrained by speech. The body is like, we want to harm someone, so we restrain our body not to harming someone, so we restrain as a speech. But then on the mental level, the Buddha said you have to restrain by wisdom. That's why you have to develop clarity. So that's why practice present moment awareness, strengthen your mindfulness, you become more aware of what's come up, that you still attached. So whenever we see that we still attached, all we need to do is just to recognize, acknowledge, and accept. Yeah, it's still there. But because very easily we tend to identify, we tend to run away, we tend to, we tend to tell ourselves, I should let go, I should let go. It's okay. Like for us, this is sometimes I should forgive. They said people, I said, no, you don't have to force yourself to forgive. You don't have to force yourself to let go. You just know that the attachment is there. You acknowledge that, and then you forgive, and you let it be. And then the Buddha said you have to do that. You have to see that, the Buddha said, again and again and again, by wisdom. Wisdom means a clarity. So when you have enough clarity, you see yourself, the attachment is there. So eventually, the attachment, little by little, this is how you detach. It's just like the fuel run out. Because when you react, oh yeah, for example, you miss your loved one, and you keep thinking, oh, I miss my loved one, oh, if I lose them, and all this, on and on slowly, then you're adding on. But each time it comes out, you just acknowledge and you stop. You're not feeding it. That means when you're not feeding it, you're not putting more energy. So each time it comes up, you're not feeding it. You just acknowledge and you let it be. Just know that it's happening. Just know that the attachment is there. So you're not stuck into thinking about it and then have fear. Oh, what happened if I lose my family? And this is all you're feeding it. When you have the fear and then all the story come, you're feeding it. But all you need to do, but it's very difficult because sometimes not to feed it. But they said this is how you have to develop mindfulness, present moment awareness, apply in your daily life. So when your mindfulness is strong, you'll be able to pick it up very quickly. You'll be able to restrain yourself to feed it. So this is a little by little, the Buddha said, it's just like, because if you continuously, like I give the example yesterday, like kicking the ball. When you kick the ball spins. Even though you stop kicking, the ball still spins. But if you continuously not kicking, eventually the ball stops. This is how it works. Because you are not adding on. Because when you kick the ball is spinning. Even you stop kicking, it's still spinning. Because the energy is still there. But then if you continue not kicking, eventually the ball will stop by itself. The same thing, the letting go eventually, completely, it slows down. When you don't feed if you're not feeding it, because the energy reduces, so it slows down, eventually stop. It's just like oil lamp. If you keep adding oil, the flame will keep going. Even though we stop adding oil, the flame still go, but because you still have oil there, eventually you continuously not adding on new oil, and then eventually those oil runs out, so the flame gone. So the practice is that you have to keep practicing, develop your clarity. Because the fact that the Buddha said, why we have this attachment? Because of ignorance, because of the lack of mindfulness, we are unable to see that. You don't have enough clarity to see that. So that's why you have to keep practicing until you have more and more, have enough clarity, you'll be able to see it. And you can feel that your attachment, like maybe, after you practice, at the beginning, you really miss the person so much. Slowly, you don't miss so much. You still miss a little bit, but the kind of the emotional side is not so strong anymore. You can feel the intensity of the emotion get lesser. Eventually, one day you find, it stopped. Just like the Buddha said that this is how you see as if that you have no progress, but actually you do have progress. And one day you discover, this no longer bother me anymore. Like certain things used to bother you, but then it still comes up from time to time. But then one day you just discover that when you completely let that go, and one day you discover that, this no longer bother me. So it takes time. So you need the consistency, the persistency to keep going, keep practicing, until one day you eventually can let it go. Because the mind is a conditioned thing. Your old conditioning, old habit die hard. So the practice is that you have to recondition your mind. So when you recondition your mind, your new conditionings have to be deeper than your old conditioning. If your new conditioning is not deep enough, you go back to your old habit. From time to time, your old habits still come in. The same thing. So you have to keep practicing. That's why even Buddhas also have to go through many, many lifetimes. Does that answer your questions? Makes sense? Sounds difficult, isn't it? Sometimes don't think about it too much. All you need to do, you just keep going. Sometimes if you try to think about it, you really drive yourself crazy. Just learn to, each time, just remind yourself, make yourself at ease and at peace in each single moment. So take one step at a time, one moment at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Then you'll be a happier person. Because the problem is we like to worry about the future. Who knows what's going to happen, you see. So if by worrying it makes you happy, then you worry.
Hello, Ajahn. I have questions like when we like some food, we like to share. And when we think meditation is good, we also want to share. But how do you balance being proactive or just let the person, the loved one be? When the right time comes, they will learn.
What's that? You see?
So if we think meditation is good, how do we proactively encourage loved ones to practice? Or wait patiently for them to ask?
Okay. So first of all, what you want others to be, first of all, you have to do it first. So because sometimes you have to, if your loved ones see you so peaceful, so calm, they're impressed. You attract them more. That's why I keep telling people, like, if your family that disagree with you, that think that, I said, please, you have to show them being a Buddhist, you become a better person. But you keep arguing with them, that's how you see, you become a Buddhist worse, your behavior like that. That's why this is a common question people ask me, how am I going to teach my children, Dhamma? How am I going to teach them, to educate them? I said, very easy. Very easy. I said, what you want your children to be, you are the one, you have to be the one first. So teaching by example, show them. Because we have people come to me, like our supporters, they said that even the colleague start to have interest in Buddhism because her colleague said, I see you always very peaceful, very calm, very kind person. And then the person know that, her colleague know that she's a Buddhist. She started to have interest. That, what do you do? What you're Buddhist? This is how you have to show that. But if people see you after become a Buddhist, always a very long winter, necking, and then impose the idol, you have to be a Buddhist, you have to meditate, you have to do that. People run away from you, you know. Sometimes you allow them, that's little by little they see your change, they will come to you. Because the more you try to do that, the more they run away. You have to let them come to you through your teaching by example, through your own behavior, to impress them and to inspire them is much more important. Does that answer your question? Makes sense? Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay, this one.
Afternoon, Ajahn. May I know in what point of your life you decided that the monastic life is for you?
When I start to practice, when I start to stay in the monastery, then I'm really at ease and at peace with the lifestyle. So then I was thinking, okay, since I have to, I can't kill myself, I'm ready to die, so I have to live until I die. So it's okay, since I have to choose what kind of lifestyle I want to live, for the rest of my life. But because since I'm really at ease and at peace, I really love the monastic lifestyle. So then I decided to become a monastic. It's not because I want to become a nun. Like some people want to become a nun, it's the idea of nuns. But I don't have the preconceived idea of nun, because I live this life because I just like the lifestyle. I like to live this kind of lifestyle. I choose to live this lifestyle. That's why I come to monastic life. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Ajahn.
I know some people have this idea of being a nun, maybe I come to become a nun, I solve all my problem. You think that's so easy, that everybody put on their robes and solve all their problems. It's so easy, isn't it? Yeah, you still have to bring with you the old habit, and it's just when you ordain, you become a monk or nun, it's just the starting, not the end. It's starting only, Okay, that's something.
Hello, Ajahn.
Yeah.
Hasapana, yes. Continuing on from that question just now, you mentioned that you like the lifestyle. Could you actually elaborate what specific lifestyle does the nun have? Because when I listen to most of the Ajahns and they talk about people who wants to ordain, they do say that think twice because you got to give up a lot of stuff. No beds, no food, as in choices of food and all that. But you're quite different. You said different lifestyle. What is it actually?
Okay. So because basically you being a monastic, you have the first thing, you have to learn to really surrender yourself. Like just, because we just have to, whatever you chose, things that you've been rostered, what you need to do, you just have to just do it. You cannot, actually losing that control. Because when you by yourself, you have money, you can control, you can get things that you like. But for us, we cannot choose what the food that we eat, we like. And even because we don't handle money, we don't have money, even want to run away also difficult, no money. Actually, it's a very scary thing when you have no control, your lifestyle. That's why you have to surrender yourself. Whatever, you just have to fit in. That's why we have the same hairstyle, so we cannot choose what we wear. We don't have Gucci. We don't have what Gucci or whatever.
That actually, because you won't have, then you won't have to face with choice if you are in a monastic. Because in the real world, you'll be facing choice, and that is torture.
Depends on where you're coming from. Because for me, I already experienced a lifestyle before I become a nun. So I enjoy that kind of lifestyle because when I was lay person, you know, you have a lot of responsibility, and then I find that I just like the simple lifestyle. So then I realized that actually, you know, we do not need a lot in order to be happy. You know, our stomach so small, how much we can eat? Even we have so much like today, Tana, so much food. I can't eat everything. My stomach is only that small, you know. And then even how big your house, you only need 4 feet, four times 6, you know. 4 feet. That space, you know. Even how big, you know, even you live in the mansion, you cannot. I lie on this room in the bed for 2-3 hours, and I go to another. You know, all you need, you know, the lie down is if 4 by 6, isn't it? That's all you need, you know. There's so much space we need. Then you started to see, when you develop more clarity, you'll be able to see that. But of course, depends on the people, where they're coming from. Because I know some people come to monastic life, they have all this idea about monastic life. It's a own preconceived idea. It's just that what they think monastic life is, but in reality is not what they think it is. But because I come from the place that I just happy, I like the lifestyle. But some people come from the place that, you know, they read some story about, this monk, this nun, this great monk. They want to be like them. Then you'll be very disappointed. You know, in reality, it's not like what you have to live the life, only you know what it is. You know, because you cannot choose what you want. You have to let go of a lot of your sense of self, the controlling. You know, it's just like, for example, I for many years, you know, just have to, summer is always beets and cereal. Once a week only toast, very happy. Look forward, every Tuesday we have toast. I look forward on Tuesday, have toast. But and then winter is only oat porridge. You know, you cannot choose. So that is the kind of letting go of the controlling is something the most difficult things, because of the letting go of the sense of self is difficult. So that the monastic life, the commitment, you really have to really committed. The commitment, you know, to surrender yourself. But then after you find that if you develop the wisdom, you'll be able to see the benefit of living this life. Actually, you'll be very happy because sometimes it's difficult if you're unable to see. We can't tell you, we can't point out. People have to experience themselves, to see for themselves. I can't really explain to you, but you have to. It's just like you never taste a mango. I tried to explain to you how a mango tastes like. You can only imagine. So until you taste a mango, this is how it tastes like. Because also the lifestyle is, you know, every day do the same thing. I remember recently, and then one woman, he come up to me, are you tired? I said, why I'm tired? Oh, because Chinese New Year. I said, nothing to do with me. Because they said, you know, Chinese New Year people have to cleaning, shopping. I said, I don't do that. Every day I do the same thing. Every morning, you know, 6:30 breakfast, you know, and then I conduct ceremony. People come dana and get my food and talk to people. Day in, day out, every day do the same thing. It's a boring lifestyle. It's no excitement. For us, our excitement is, some treatment come and fixing, everybody will look hard. This is the only excitement we have. No excitement. Very boring. Every day do the same thing. Boring lifestyle. If those want excitement, then monastic lifestyle is not exciting at all, because every day the same old breath, you have the same old person, and then you have to live like outside. If a colleague, someone that you don't like, afterwards you don't have to face them, you still go back. But if you're in a community, someone that you don't like, you have to live with the person that you don't like. You have no choice. You know, that is, you have to put up with that. So that's why this is where you overcome. So that's why sometimes people cannot overcome that disrupt. To really overcome, you have to, the lifestyle itself, because we live in a community, you have to develop a lot of kindness and compassion. If you don't have enough kindness and compassion, it's very difficult to live in a community. So always forgive, always embrace. They say sometimes it's difficult, like for my job, if I don't have enough metta and compassion, it's very difficult, because you really, you have to be really objective, I cannot be biased, that towards, because I tell people, I have only one son, I let go of one son, I got so many more children. The karma you give away, you get more. You let go, you get more. I say more, and then sometimes you have to be patiently. Sometimes they say, sometimes when I'm away, I go back, how people line up want to talk to me already. Then you have to listen all the problems, and then you just have to be very patient. So that's why if you don't develop, if you don't have enough that, very easily, I said I will run away or come to BF or come here teaching or no return. Run away. You run away because it's that's why sometimes the reason why, it's not that, at least they learn something, even that disrupt, they learn something, That's why some people said, some monks that disrupt, they marry and then they find, those husband been a monk before, they make them a perfect husband. But also, of course, you don't become a monk, to become a perfect husband. Please don't do that. Okay. So is that answer your question? That makes sense to you? Okay. So any more questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you. Actually, I'm thinking very hard whether I should ask this question. Because you have talked about monastic life, and but we are laymen, right? So we do in a workplace. So I'm just thinking very hard how I would be practicing, at the real workplace. Is it still possible to practice like compassion, all this? Yes, I would try to remind myself, but I think in the work life, sometimes you may have to escalate issues to, and you will actually meet some people who could be a very, really for their sake, they may be very egoistic towards you, right? So how do I practice when scenario like this? Yeah. Thank you.
Because this is something that I want to talk tomorrow, because when you work is stress, that's why you have to learn a skillful way to deal with to release the stress, to release those emotions. Because a lot of people, they're not skillful to release that. Sometimes they're reinforced. Sometimes for me, because of my position, I have lots of responsibility. Like for example, every day, after Dana, I have to talk to the lay people, and I have to talk to the community, the nuns, I have to listen to the problem. But I not get affected, because to me, I turn around, it's just like, I'm just like the rubbish bin have no bottom, just, okay, I just listen, because I don't take things personally, because very easily we got drawn in, we buy in other people's emotion. But that's why this need cultivation, you need to train your mind. And there's always to learn a skillful way to deal with stress, to deal with how to to release, because we need to release. That's why it's very important that sometimes that's why we keep telling even husband and wife, the couples, I say, both of you have to give each other's time and space. We need to have time and space. We need to digest. We need to release those emotions. But a lot of people doesn't know how to do that. They build up. They build up, and then they keep suppressing. And then to the point you cannot hold, then you really like a volcano, like a bomb, will explode, And that is a skillful way. That is a skillful way to deal with it. So that's why you have to come tomorrow. This is a marketing advertising, okay? So when you watch television, they give you a little bit, okay, tomorrow you have to continue to watch, okay? Then you make sure you come tomorrow. There's at the back one, all happy customer, happy. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay. All happy customer. Okay. So maybe if you want to continue to sit and walk, and then after you'll come back. I have any more last questions, and that is what time the last questions is. That's why sometimes when you develop a mind, you have a stable. If mentality you're very stable, you feel that discomfort. You feel that you're emotional, but you're not so easily affected by that, And I know someone even though some people that don't, even younger, we have someone like, even she's not going through menopause because of sometimes the hormones imbalance, and you get very emotional. So, but sometimes the problem is because when we get emotional, very easily we get drawn in by that. Sometimes it's good that's why I encourage people to practice present moment awareness throughout the day, because when you become more aware of it, you'll be able to pick up, because very easily we been like, we bound by, our mental state. Very easily we get sucked in. Once we suck in, our mind go on and on and on thinking about it, And that is where, because you're unable to say no to those, that's why it's important that you develop your mind. That's why it's good that you spend a bit more time, throughout the day, you apply this present moment awareness in your daily life throughout, and also always have time for yourself and to develop more stillness. If you're peaceful enough, your mind is peaceful enough, you're calm enough, so you're not so easily get sucked into the emotion, because you need to stabilize in order to stabilize your being emotional. Actually, you need to have the mind that is very steady, stable, and that's help. That's why I have to develop that. And also sometimes when you go through that, that's actually that breathing exercise also will help when you're emotional. Then you can just, not to, because when you're emotional, the first thing your mind will go into thinking about it, and fear, and followed by all others, leads to more negative emotion. And actually, this is a faster, easiest way and fastest way to stop your mind from latch onto that, because when we're emotional, we latch onto that, and then we go on and on and on. So that's why when you do the breathing exercise, actually it does help. So when you're emotional, you feel like you've been overwhelming, and then or you feel like that you feel emotional, or you feel if you have anxiety or whatever, panic. So normally sometimes when you're emotional, say you start to panic or fear, and all this emotion comes out. So you just take 3 deep breaths, because taking 3 deep breath is help you to stop yourself like a break, because very easy, because our mind very fast, immediately we have that we just latch on. But taking 3 deep breaths, actually it stopped you. That's helped you to like a break, because especially when the mind is a conditioned things, and when you develop the habit, it's very quickly we react to whatever emotion. It's very quick, but that's why you have to learn to stop that. Then is to take 3 deep breaths, and then you do the breathing in the emotion and breathing out peace, because of underlying tendency of we are not accepting that, because when you're being emotional, it's unpleasant, because that is the almost the nature of our mind, that we have that resistant rejection towards any unpleasantness, that kind of and then the more you try to try to push it away, that you don't want to feel it, actually you feel it more, isn't it? So sometimes when you force yourself not to think about it, then you think more. Most people tend to push it away, but that's why letting go is about accepting how you feel, even though it's really awful. It's okay. And learn to embrace it. That's why when you do the breathing exercise, actually you train your mind to embrace whatever you go through in this moment, because we tend to identify good or bad. This is no good, I don't like it. Then you try to push it away. But rather than we open up, embrace, this is also kindness. Sometimes even though we're aware of that, but we lack of kindness. We are not kind to ourselves. So it's okay. It's okay that sometimes you feel awful. And no one in this world, they're always bright and beautiful, isn't it? Sometimes you feel a bit grumpy, and then you feel awful. That kind of feelings is that actually this is how you train your mind, that it's okay. You accept that, you embrace that with kindness, to embrace how you feel, rather than judging. We tend to judge ourselves how we feel. That is no good, because for us, most of us, whenever there's pleasant feelings, we will identify it's good. This is good because it's pleasant. When it's unpleasant, this is bad. This is how we label and we judge ourselves. And rather than to open up, to have kindness to ourselves. It's okay. I feel awful. It's okay to be awful. It's not that we are bad if we don't feel bright. It's fine, And to be able to really face it, and not to run away, and not to suppress it. And then this is one of the ways. So sometimes the problem is, if you don't develop awareness in your daily life throughout, you tend not easily to pick it up very quickly. We let that drag us, take us, we go along with that, because that tendency is very strong. That kind of emotion, they really draw you in. Then it's very difficult to say no. That's why because of also lack of mindfulness, your mind is not bright enough, you don't have enough awareness, aware that, then very easily we get follow that, and the mind go on and on and on. But this is where it's important to develop that. And when you're fully aware of what's happening, that's it, you stop. You know that you're going to get dragged in. Very easily we get dragged in. Even sometimes some people, they're very emotional. Even that someone emotional also can affect them. You buy in other people's emotion. So that's it. But when you're peaceful, when you're calm, you're not so easily affected. You're not so easily buy in. The emotion of others, as also the emotion of yourself. You feel that way, and then you just recognize that and acknowledge, and you let it be. That's why sometimes you need to develop enough mindfulness in order to say no to that emotion. Or even you feel terrible, you feel awful, and then you just know this is what's happening. But then it's very difficult to say no. That's why sometimes it's good to do 3 deep breaths. That at least give you a break. Like for example, some people, when they're anxious, when they have anxiety, some people want to smoke. And then they think smoking itself helping them to release the anxiety. Actually, it's nothing to do with the smoking itself, because you because you change your attention, like the Buddha said, when we pay attention to those something that lead us to unwholesome state of mind, that is unwise attention. That is unwise attention. That's why we don't pay attention to that. That's why when someone, when they don't pay attention to that, they take a cigarette and they smoke. Actually, the attention is not there, isn't it? And that is where you break. Actually, it's not secret. It's not so magical that it miracles that help you to solve your anxiety. It's just because of you shift your attention. Your attention is not on your thoughts. Actually, your attention on taking a cigarette. You walk out. Actually, then your mind is not there anymore, isn't it? That's sometimes why people even do like self-harm, cutting themselves. Because when the mental suffering is so great, then if you change your attention, you rather to pay attention on that, you pay attention, like you start to, when the attention on cutting the hand, and then they feel hurt, and then because the physical pain take over the attention, your attention on paying attention on your mental suffering, that takes your attention away. Then you focus on this, because physical mental suffering, mental pain is greater than the physical pain. So you use this physical pain that help you to not to pay attention to that, and people find it that's a relief. And then they started to addicted to that. That's why you addicted to. Sometimes this is how people using. This is not a skillful way to run away. How that emotion. Sometimes people got into drugs, alcohol, and as a way to not to face it, to not to pay attention. But this is not a skillful way that you do it. That's why it's a more skillful way. Like the breathing, as you take 3 deep breaths so that you don't follow, and also it's important in your daily life, practice present moment awareness, and also have time and space for yourself to develop more stillness. And your mind, you have more stability of your mind. Your mind is really calm, and you are not so easily get affected. And also you can do the breathing exercise. You're just breathing in that unpleasantness, breathing out peace. This is also how it's helped you. It gives you the psychological imprint that you brainwash yourself. You recondition yourself. It's okay. Even though it's unpleasant, it's okay. You embrace whatever you experience in this moment. So you embrace that it's unpleasant. So you make peace with that. You learn to make peace. This is how you train your mind. You learn to make peace. Yes, it's awful. It's fine. So you breathing in the unpleasantness, breathing out peace. So you make peace with the unpleasantness, because most of the time we tend to just push it away. So the more you try to push it away, actually you're reinforcing it, and that unpleasantness become even more intense. I remember there was a lady, she going through a divorce, and she said, I don't want to think about my ex-husband. And then she tried very hard. She will occupy her whole day, she do all sorts of things, so that she fully occupied, so that she don't have time to think about her ex-husband. The harder she tried, the worse she think more. Then I told her, I said, it's okay. I said, of course, you've been living with this person for so long. I said, what's the problem? You think of him. I said, isn't it? So if each time, your mind pops up, his face, or you think of him, it's interesting. I still think of him. Fine. Actually, it stopped, isn't it? But if the more if you ask you not to think, you think more, isn't it? The more when we force ourselves, when we force ourselves not to, not to think, actually we are reinforcing it. Actually, we're putting more energy and we think more. So I say, it's okay, relax. It's I say, no big deal, even if you think of that, So this is another thing also, we just remind yourself, that it's no big deal. It's just unpleasantness. So no one always feel good, isn't it? Sometimes at times we don't feel good. So it's okay that at this moment, we just accept how we feel. They have kindness to us, normally we have aversion towards that feel awful, that unpleasantness. So actually, that's why the Buddha said, like anger will never appease with anger, only with kindness, with love. That's how you learn to develop your mind. It's okay, welcome, menopause, fine, no problem, over, no problem, I love you, fine, you know. No, it's true. When the moment you change your perception, you change how you look at it, you know, that is fine. You think that is no big deal. Sometimes it's actually the thinking part make it worse. The more you think about it, you know, actually that really reinforces the unpleasantness, and it's become more and more intense, you know. Then it's just like, you know, like Ajahn Brahm used to give the, you know, he spoke opening the door of your heart. Okay, opening to the menopause. Okay, I'm opening, my heart open, my heart is open, the heart is open to you. The door of my heart is open to you. Okay, come on, menopause is fine. But sometimes the more you have fear about that, you have fear to have the experience, actually you actually the intensity of that become even increased. It will not lessen. And sometimes the loss of suffering is we add on. You know, we add on. That's why the Buddha said. The Buddha said the wise one have only one arrow. The foolish one have two arrows. Because the wise one, they have one arrow, they're struck by an arrow, they say, okay, this is pain. For example, okay, menopause, okay, now I'm emotional, okay, I feel awful. That's it. But then, if they said the foolish one, struck by an arrow, they think, why this happened to me? I shouldn't have feel that, go on and on, who did that, you know. So the Buddha said, the foolish one will pick up another arrow and poke themselves a few more times. This is why when we get stuck when we get drawn into the thinking, that is where the thinking itself, you know, that you reinforce that, and then you create more suffering for yourself. If the wise one is we not try to deny how we feel. We just recognize that this is how we feel. We just accept that. Actually, the moment you accept that, how you feel, actually, you have less pain. I remember my first retreat I did. It's very intensive, you know, never done a retreat before. The first time, very daring, you know, do an intensive retreat. Never done a retreat before. The third day, I was so painful, my whole body, because you sit and walk, you know. Morning 4 o'clock, you start to practice until at night 9 something, you know. And no chair, not so comfortable, you know. You have nowhere to lie down, you know, nowhere to sit, you know. No seat, it's all on the floor, marble floor, you know. You have to sit. And that kind of quite intensive and that kind of retreat. The third day, my body was so pain. I can't even, the moment I can't even sit on the floor. It's very painful. And because the more you do want the pain, you have more pain. My body was so pain. Then I can't sit. Okay, I can't sit. Then maybe I walk. I try to walk. I can't walk. I was so slow and topper. My eyes can't even open. I can't even lift my leg. I can't even, my leg like so heavy, like almost 1 ton, you know. Can't even lift. And then I was really I was almost in tears. I said, what am I going to do? I can't sit, I can't walk. And then I can't go back because I shouldn't be big mouth telling everybody that I'm going on retreat. But though everybody knows that I'm retreat, then people know halfway through I withdraw. You know, of course we don't want to let people know, isn't it? That's why I said I shouldn't have let people know. If people don't know that, I just quietly go and quietly withdraw, come back. No one knows, but the whole world knows, you know. What am I going to do with that? I was in tears, you know. And then the moment I feel like, okay, it's fine. Then just let it's the pain. I just let the pain take my life. If take my life, then it's fine. I just die of the pain, you know. Then the moment I really let that go, it doesn't matter, you know. I've already not that to a point that I'm not afraid of dying anymore. I'm going to die, you know. Then initially I take 5 cushions, you know. I sit on 3 and one here, still pain, very painful, very very painful. Then I threw away all the cushions, just sit on the marble. Actually, the moment I let that go, it's just like miracles, you know. I sit down, no pain. the pain gone. And I was very peaceful. I think because of the letting go. Because the more you don't want to experience that, actually you reinforce that you feel more the pain, like to a point that is not, because we amplify our pain, we manifest our pain. And that really a good experience. That my first insight, then I realized that. So they say sometimes this is how, sometimes the more you focus on your pain, that you don't want the pain, actually you have more pain. The same thing, whatever you experience, the more you don't want to feel it, to experience it, you reinforce that, it becomes even more intense. Then after that, very peaceful, and I have a good meditation, really peaceful and calm. That's why I said that retreat, the first retreat I did, after that retreat ends, I actually, that peace and happiness, joy, maintained for a few days, very happy. That's like the joy of letting go, the freedom. This is a good experience. Sometimes some of those unpleasantness, those pain is add on. It's our own creation. We create that in our mind because we have that that resistance, towards that. The more you try to push it away, actually you reinforce that. A lot of people don't see that because when you try to get rid of it, that is aversion towards that. That's why the Buddha said, anger will never appease anger. So only through kindness. So you need, sometimes you have mindfulness is not enough. You have kindness towards whatever we experience, So when we have kindness, it's okay, It's okay, the pain is there, and we have kindness towards our pain. Actually, the pain will reduce. The unpleasantness will reduce. Even you feel awful, whatever, how you feel, maybe you feel really awful. And actually that help to reduce. That's why it's important to learn, to embrace and learn to make peace with that. Of course, it takes a bit of practice. It will not happen overnight. But if you really, put into practice, apply this in your daily life and apply it, and you will benefit, after you can see the results after at least, you do it after 3 months, you can see that you feel much more relaxed and you feel much more better if you be able to come to a place of acceptance, accepting how you feel. It's also letting go. So the more we don't want to experience that, actually we experience more. Like this lady, she tried very hard, and then still don't want to think of the ex-husband, she think more. I said it doesn't work like that. I said you learn to say, it's okay, fine, what a big deal. So it's okay, menopause, and then like Ajahn Brahm used to say, these two will pass, okay. Like it will not keep, it will not stay forever. It will stop, So that's why I hope this answer your questions. Okay, any more questions or comments? Any more questions or comments? No question?
None, Ajahn. We can end and have more time for requisites later offering if
Okay.
so you like to share merits and then after that ask Ajahn for some blessings.
Okay. Okay.
Today we are sharing merits with Sis Jenny's sister
Okay.
who just passed on this morning. So let's remember her name is Ellie Suryani.
Okay.
Okay.
So today be in memory of Ellie Suyani. So she just passed away this morning. So we bring her to mind and thinking of her, and to share merits with her. That so today, your practice, all your practice, and then to share all the merits that you have made through your practice, and with Ellie Suyani. So you bring her to mind, we think of her. Okay, now we share merits. Okay. Akasatta cha bummata devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakantu loka sasanang akasatta cha bummata devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakantu desanam akasatta cha bummata devanaga mahitika punyantam anumoditva chiram rakantu mam paranti etawata chammehi sampadam punya sambadam sape dewa anumodantu sapa sampati siddhya etawata chammehi sampadam punya sambadam sape buddha anumodantu sapa sampati siddhya etawata chammehi sampadam punya sambadam sape sattha anumodantum sapa sampati siddhya idam no menyatinam hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idam menyatinam hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idam menyatinam hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Ajahn, can maybe request a short blessing?
Okay. Ayurarogya sampati Saka sampati mevacha Ato nibbana sampati Iminate samejatu Bhavatu sapa mangala Rakhantu sapa devata Sapa buddhanubhavena Sapa dhammanubhavena Sapa sankhanubhavena Sadasoti bhavantu te. This one normally Ajahn Vayama used to do that. This is more a Sri Lankan style. I have not been doing that for a long time. Because usually I do the other one. Sapidiyo. So I was thinking, do that differently.
Let us do Arahang before